find out if they're dodgy. It'll detect if somebody's got a gun and everything locks
on.
down. And they lock it down like in so many different ways.
Are we live?
All right.
Go.
Or their mic on, maybe?
It's stunning. I was blown away.
Are we good? Okay, it's 6:30 on March 19th, 2024, and I will call to order the meeting of the Select Board of Wenham. In attendance is myself, Diane Bucco.
Peter Clay?
Deirdre Peretti.
Gary Cheeseman.
We have our administrative team here as well. We start our meeting with public input. 10 minutes reserved for the public input. Any participants wishing to address the Select Board during public comments may do so in person or by Zoom. Speakers must identify themselves by name and street address. And no one's here? Okay,
Rats.
I know. Town administrators update and town announcements. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Ready.
Steve's up.
All right, we got a few things. So the FinCom met last week and approved the release of funds to fund the AED purchase. So I actually just got an email 3 seconds ago from Jeff saying that the order is placed. So we're in the waiting list to receive those. Don Bannon passed on March 6th. I know I sent the board an email, just wanted to make a public announcement for that. He passed away in Florida, and we never heard back about arrangements or anything.
No.
We had recently appointed call firefighters just graduated. So I want to say congratulations to Jessica Hattenbach, Brett Donovan, Matt Dickman, and Brennan Liccato. So job well done graduating the Fire Academy. Free cash was also certified since our last meeting. So we've been running with 2.3 as our estimate. It came in at about 2.5 and change. So right now the FinCom is discussing whether they want to amend the appropriation into the stabilization fund or leave it alone. My suggestion was to leave it alone for a small dollar amount. We were slightly above 1% of expenditures left unappropriated. This put us about 2% of expenditures, and would be available next year to add more to the stabilization fund. But they may make a recommendation to amend the motion to appropriate more than what's in the commentary and printed in the warrant. Thought it might add some confusion, but we'll see.
If I may, so will we just know that by the warrant hearing on April 2nd?
Yeah, they'll tell you on the warrant
Okay.
hearing, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So the soccer lease, so we're hoping to have the RFP in our hands on April 2nd? April 2nd, so that it come before the board and we can publish that in combis and all our required advertising to get that going, so that we will have any proposals in hand by the middle of May and be able to have a contract in place on July 1. 2A Dexter sold, that went through. The select board authorized, I believe, was up to $225,000 for the Affordable Housing Trust to purchase 2A Dexter as part of their affordable housing stock. Sold for $164,000, so less
That's
than
great.
authorized. And finally, I got word that Kristen Noon is stepping down as the director of the museum, so we wish her best in her future endeavors. That's all I have tonight.
That's great. I only have, which I'm going to submit to you, the budget from the Essex North Shore Agricultural and Technical School. They always make a really nice book, and we're supposed to keep it.
This will be us next year.
That'll be us.
Probably not color.
The town of Wenham will be black and white. And I don't have anything else.
Recording in progress.
Anybody else have anything, Pete?
I'll just say that Eric Tracy has a new elementary building committee, and we went and visited the Manchester Memorial Elementary School, which our contractor that we're using to look for Cutler or Winthrop, and the school was absolutely stunning. About 250 students, but I mean the gym, which they actually spent extra money on, is much nicer than our gym at the regional. So it's amazing what can happen.
And on that, March 27th is the next date, I think, for the forum.
Yes,
Superintendent Tracy is going to do, but I don't remember where it is.
it's a Bucher. No, it's the high school auditorium.
High School Auditorium, March 27th, that's next week. Great, thank you. Deirdre, you have anything?
Sure. Just the master plan process is zooming right along and heading for the finish line. We'll hear the update at town meeting, but the draft is available on the website. It looks beautiful. I think it's really turned out great. So definitely encourage people to go on and take a look at it. And also, I wanted to say thank you to the League of Women Voters for another fantastic civics bee. It's really amazing. I was not there for the end, but it's incredible the energy in that room and seeing so many people and so many kids fully engaged and answering questions about civics. It's really an incredible event for the community. So thank you very much to them for putting it on.
Great. And I believe before, on League of Women Voters, they are doing a candidates night.
Oh, good.
Yes, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Question and a comment. Hope everyone's going to read the warrant book when they receive it. And do we have any idea when the printer's going to get that out in the mail to the citizenry?
This week,
This week? All right. So,
we didn't get a firm date, but
all right. So please, everybody, read that before the warrant hearing and certainly before town meeting.
Which is April.
April 6th,
6th,
1
1
PM
o'clock.
at Bucher.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. We had some correspondence from the Hamilton Town Manager regarding the Hamilton Select Board Chair's request to convene a quint boards for purposes of discussing the regional school district agreement. Did everybody see that? Did anyone have any comments on that? Thoughts on that?
I thought it was the 5 chairs, not,
Is it 5 chairs? I can't
Oh,
remember.
the quint, right?
that was Quint
Oh.
board.
Same.
The whole board? Quint boards?
board.
I read it as Quint board, but I also may have, sometimes you read something and you see one thing and it says the other.
Right, right,
Is it
right.
So
here?
I can pull it up and
All right.
double check. Do you have the email in front of you? I thought you said
Is
Quint
it,
board.
it should be in the,
I don't
in the,
see it in the packet.
it should be in the packet. We all read it.
How do we forward it around? Yeah, let me see.
It may not, no, I don't see it either,
Not
or at
here.
least not in the same order.
Oh yeah, existing 5 chairs.
Oh, 5 chairs,
Yep.
so the 5 chairs to get the regional school district agreement going. Thoughts on that?
Well, certainly, I think we need to have it on our agenda first to decide what Wenham's view or Wenham's objectives are in the rewriting the agreement. And then perhaps, it's tough to have a committee of 50 or whatever.
Yes.
So, with all the board members, so I think we'll probably end up, as they recommend, a couple of designees.
Why 5 chairs? Why?
It's all 5.
I think,
Oh, it's all 5. I mean, maybe we can.
FinCom, isn't it?
2 FinComs,
FinComs,
2 select boards, and
the
a
school.
school.
I mean, if you
and
think
town
that,
administrators.
if you think all boards would be too numerous, maybe. I guess we have to be careful with a subcommittee, but 1 member of a select board, the chair and 1 additional member to keep the
Right.
group
Yeah.
smaller.
Yeah,
But that would get into open meeting, open meeting law, so it would have to be posted.
So maybe 2 from each, then?
so maybe 2 from each, but I think you're right. We probably need to put it on the agenda here. Review, maybe share the agreement, the current agreement now, make sure everyone's kind of up to date on that, and then just bring forth things that we want to bring up, so we feel comfortable, and then the chair and someone
That makes sense.
could do a quint, I think, or, not a quint, what are we going to call that then?
Or
School agreement
or
committee?
a Quint
Working group.
a Quint board meeting to kick it off. And then the more negotiating, the closed door negotiating would be the 5 chairs.
Yeah.
And because with the working group in the open meeting, that may not work
But
well.
we probably should, as a board, in Wenham first, I'll review it.
Oh,
And
right,
then, yeah, so
agreed.
maybe right after the election, that would be something to bring
Yeah, I
up.
mean, I think that, yeah, agreed, that definitely has to happen.
Okay,
As a group, how are we going to
go forward.
get our thoughts and needs to the attorney? Is it through me? Is it through a chairs meeting? Is it through a Quint board meeting? You know what I mean? That's what we have to figure out.
I see. Huh,
I think the expectation is to have the attorneys do, you know, the negotiating back and forth on our behalf. It's just getting those, that input to the attorneys. And also, I think it'd be helpful to get everybody in a room personally to just, you know, what's everybody's feelings and what do you want to see accomplished from this?
that's a good
Well,
way
I
too.
think, I mean, from reading the agreement, it's not immediately clear to me what all the issues are. So I don't know if somebody has
I mean,
sort of things to be, like,
yeah, I
is
mean, I
there a
think
to-do list?
Dana Lara has, I think, quite a few from the administration's perspective, but at least the way I see it from a town's perspective, we're probably looking for, and there may be more, but looking for some sort of a smoothing put into the calculation so that a 3-year rolling average can, such a short snapshot in time with no limits to how far you can fall or rise, can create, you know, a lot of difficulty in budgeting when you're looking at, you know, a 0% one year and 7% the next year. You know what I mean? So it'd be nice to, I don't know what a fair way to go about that is, but it'd be nice to have some discussions and try to come up with something that gives some protection to the participating communities.
I would think both communities would want to do that, so
And I
that,
think,
that sounds like it's
yeah,
a, it's
I
an
think
easy
Hamilton
fix.
is on the same page as far as that. I know that one of the FinCom members had mentioned something about, you know, possibly being compensated or at least acknowledge that both school lots are in,
Hamilton.
Hamilton, if they remain to be like that, so I think they have some thoughts as well.
So when I first got on the select board, I went and talked to various people on the town and in the town, and Win Dodge, I remember, had some fairly strong opinions about the school agreement. So should I chase him down?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the type of stuff the board would like to hear.
Yeah, I will, because it's a very old agreement.
It's very old.
But he was there when they renegotiated the amendment.
In
He was
86.
on the board, yes. Or
Yeah, so
active in
I'll
that
reach out to him.
time.
I know he chewed my ear off for about half an hour on that topic alone.
Yeah, I mean, any insight to, you know, back then, it would be
Right.
helpful, I think.
I'll do that.
So going forward, the plan is,
After,
after the election,
we'll set up a meeting.
On the agenda here
yeah,
first?
a select board agenda, pass out the agreement, and just start throwing stuff at it so everybody gets an idea of what the agreement says and what could be changed.
It sounds like generally the board is open to this idea of some sort of a 5-chair or Quint board, at least initially.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, so that works well, but then basically it's going to the attorneys anyway, right?
Yeah, and this is just a suggestion from Sean Farrell that Joe communicated to us, and I didn't see Dana respond to this email, so I'm not sure what the school committee's position is on it. So again, I just wanted to get take the board's temperature and see if you're okay with it. Kind of made sense to me, but didn't
I think
speak for you.
I can say we're pretty much, you want to vote on that, or are we good to?
I don't
say-
think we have to vote, not at this, we're not doing anything yet.
And I would imagine that all parties are gonna wanna do that. So, we're good with that?
With that,
All right. Let's talk about the appointment of Mr. Tom Holland to the Hamilton Wenham Rec Committee. I don't see Sean or anyone from the Rec Committee,
yeah, he's
But-
not here tonight.
and we didn't have any information on Tom.
No, we weren't supplied any information.
weren't supplied. As a former neighbor, and I know he's very interested in these things, I can definitely think this is a great appointment. Get him
Yeah,
involved in town
absolutely.
government, so that sounds good to me. Anybody else? Motion?
I move to appoint Tom Holland to the Hamilton Wenham Joint Recreation Committee for a term starting March 19th, 2024, and ending June 30th, 2026.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? We can vote. Diane is yes.
Peters, yes.
Deirdre, yes?
Gary, yes.
It's a unanimous vote. Thank you, Tom, for stepping up. That thing's be great. Oh, discussion and potential vote on the Reynolds farmland agreement set to commence on March 20th, 2024, which is tomorrow, and will expire on December 31st, 2028, unless sooner terminated in accordance with this license. And I think, Kate, were you here to talk about
Yeah.
that, or?
I hope so.
I think it was pretty I mean, I understood what you were telling us in the packet, but
Yeah.
maybe you want to share.
Yeah, first, I'd just like to say thank you to everybody who participated in this process, especially the Conservation Commission. And up here, we have Liz Green from Three Sisters, so that will be one of our new farmers. I see we also have Rambling Roots, that's Donna and Graham up there. And Graham is a new farmer. He comes from Tufts New Entry, and it's really exciting for him to get an acre or two of land of our farm. So we're really happy about that. And then we have the food project here as well. So thank you, everybody, for going through this process with us. We started this process back in November, so it's been a long process and very thoughtful. So you guys will be signing, through Sign Now, 3 licenses. The licenses for Rambling Roots and Three Sisters will have a $0 amount on it, and so they will not be paying for the land. The food project will be paying, so you'll see the amount when you get to the food project's license for $1,068. So I just didn't want anybody to be confused of why some licenses were for $0.
And why are they?
Why are they?
The food project was the lead on this application, and they decided that they would pay for the whole amount. So the amount every single year is $1,068. That's how it's been for a long, long time. And so the food project said they'd cover the whole amount.
And then share some of the land with the other
Yes.
For the
two
full
entities.
property.
Yeah, but our town council
Very
wanted
nice.
them all to have their individual license so that we're covered completely with, on the town side.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That's great. Deirdre?
So in the packet, there was a map, so everybody sort of has their own plot? Is that how
Yes.
it's?
Yep,
okay.
the Three Sisters will be in the land that's across the street from the major area. The food project will be where they always are, and they'll be taking care of the orchard that we're gonna plant some more trees this year. And then Rambling Roots will be that farther plot of land that wasn't planted last year, down closer to the Miles River.
Okay.
The south field that's in the back is not ready to be organically grown yet, so they'll be tilling that up and planting cover crops again.
Okay, great.
The food project
Thank
will?
you.
Yes,
Do they have that much manpower?
yes, yep,
Great. That's awesome.
yeah,
We get
very
motion?
exciting.
I move to approve the Reynolds Farmland Agreement commencing on March 20th, 2024, and expiring on December 31st, 2028, unless sooner terminated in accordance with the license.
Second?
Moved in and seconded. Quick question, should it be Reynolds Farmland Agreements, since it is 3?
I would
Or is
say
it-
so.
Yes.
Yes.
So let's make it agreements. We'll
Sure.
just amend it to say agreements. Any more conversation?
No.
I vote yes.
Peter votes yes.
Deirdre, yes?
Gary, yes.
So that's
Great.
another unanimous vote.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
Thank
Kate,
you,
thanks for
guys.
pulling
Thank
all
you,
that
Kate.
together.
Thank you.
Discussion and potential vote on the First Amendment to the amended and restated Community Preservation Act grant agreement with Harbor Light Community Partners, Inc., to reflect the additional funding in the amount of $150,000, which was appropriated by the Wenham Town Meeting on April 1st, 2023. Steve?
Yes, this is the additional, I believe they had $750,000 initially from the Affordable Housing Trust and the, well, you know. Yeah, CPC, and then COVID obviously happened, the escalation in the building costs and inflation and things like that, so they needed a little bit more money to complete the project. I think a significant amount was raised through other avenues, through the state and such, but they did approach the town or the CPC to award an additional $150,000. which is CPC did make the recommendation at last year's town meeting, and town meeting voted in favor of it. So this is to amend that grant agreement that originally said $750,000 to reflect the $900,000 that they now would have been granted for that project.
Perfect. Motion?
I-
Oh, we'll motion in second, and then we'll discuss.
Oh,
Is
go
that
ahead.
okay?
Sure.
Pete?
I move to approve the additional funding per the First Amendment to the amended and restated Community Preservation Act grant agreement with Harbor Light Community Partners, Inc. for $150,000, which was approved at Wenham Town Meeting on April 1st, 2023.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion, Deirdre?
It's just minor, but can we update the template to not be Board of Selectmen? It's in two places.
Okay.
Oh,
Good reading. Any other comments?
No, that's it.
Perfect. I think we can vote. I'll vote yes.
Peter votes yes.
Deirdre, yes?
Gary, yes.
That's another unanimous vote on that. Well done. Okay, we have a couple MOUs, which stands for Memorandum of Understanding. So, do you want to do them separately and explain them, or we have one with the
I
DPW and
could-
cemetery, and one with the DPW and
I
veterans?
mean, I could speak about both of them, and then we could go through each one
Yeah.
if you want. I think both of them, the intent is the same. It's to clarify the role that the DPW department currently plays in the maintenance and upkeep of these two, the Veterans Memorial and also the memorials, and then the cemetery up at Iron Rail. So, I'll use the veterans as an example. I think that, they were looking for a little bit higher level landscaping service than what was being provided by the DPW. I believe this is how the conversation started. And, the DPW does not have the expertise or the ability to do like the hedge shaping and things like that. So, we're kind of trying to differentiate between, a general maintenance that the DPW does and then maintenance that will have to be done either through a landscaper or things or something like that. Rich has reviewed both of them. He has no problems with it. He said it's all stuff that he already does. They already do anyways. There's no change. He likes the idea of having specific duties when they come up. It's not does the DPW does it? Don't they? So. And I think it's good also with our our kind of move to tying services to dollars, so to speak, so that it's like, oh, the DPW, we cost us X amount of dollars per mile of road we have in town. It's like, well, they do a lot more. What do they do? It's like, well, here's they do all this for the veterans, they do this for the cemetery, they mow all the grass in town. So it's just kind of putting a complete picture together about what the different services that the different departments offer here in town.
That makes sense. I had a question, but I don't remember what it is, so why don't we motion, we can motion both of them at the same time. They're both effective the same date, right?
If you want.
Merge those two.
Effective what date?
Today,
Yeah, it can be today. We pick a date.
10/19?
3/19.
3/19. I move to approve the DPW Cemetery Commission MOU, effective 3/19/2024.
DPW MOUs, right?
DPW Cemetery Commission MOU.
Okay, we'll do one at a time.
Second.
Any questions? Perfect.
Just
Yeah.
minor again. In several places it references before Memorial Day. So when I first read it, it was like, I don't know what that means. So I think it means basically prepping for the Memorial Day
Preparation for.
celebration. I think it would just be more specific. It's like the season is before Memorial Day to mid-October, but what's before Memorial Day? April, March, May?
So
Okay,
in-
I'll
so
put clarification.
clarification in preparation for.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I eventually figured out that I think they mean. So just for clarity's sake.
Makes sense.
Okay, as amended.
As amended. Changing, yeah. I vote yes.
Peter votes yes.
Deirdre, yes?
Gary, yes.
It's unanimous for that MOU.
All right, I move to approve the DPW Cemetery Commission MOU effective 3/19/2024.
You need to change that to veterans,
Veterans.
not to
Oh,
cemeteries.
yeah, look at that.
It's
Yep.
written,
I was trying to figure out, looking at
It's like
this.
it sounded so similar.
All right, so we'll try that again.
I move to approve the DPW Veterans Commission MOU effective 3/19/2024.
Second. Moved, seconded. Did you find any typos in that one?
No.
But we need to amend it to a committee, Veterans Committee, not the
Yeah.
commission.
Veterans Committee. So we will, I will vote to approve the amended motion, commission to committee. Diane is yes.
Peter, yes.
Deirdre, yes?
Gary, yes.
Okay, unanimous. Good?
Yep.
Good call. We have to get a discussion and potential vote to adopt the confidential assistant for the chief of police job description. It was one of those, sort of template job descriptions, yes?
Yeah, it's our new template.
Yep.
That we're using for all the job descriptions. It also, identifies years of experience, levels of education, workplace environment, things like that, which all, have not been identified in the past, but are critical to placing them within their classification schedule in town. And additionally, the primary reason why we're getting this out in front of the rest of the job descriptions that will be reviewed by the board later on this year is that this is well, obviously it's the confidential assistant for the chief of police. It is a union position. I've brought this up a couple times before as we went through the disciplinary action previously, and then the subsequent kind of redesign of the position and rehiring and reclassifying in the union contract. So this is more reflective of the role as it exists now. And so we did some thinking with Jamie before and what this job needs to be responsible for, because as we've seen over the last year or so, 2 years I guess I've been here, that we've been just digging out of the police administrative side of things. It just seems like even today it's like things just always bubbling up. So I mean, having a strong person in this position is important. Additionally, some key changes needed to be made, not only to responsibilities, but to highlight that they're no longer a matron. They can't be a matron anymore. You have to go through the police academy or whatever to be a matron, and they no longer support the fire department. So that this position has existed for many years as supporting a very small fraction of time, like maybe 5 hours or something for the fire department, or 10 hours. But the police, for as many years as I've looked back, the police has always fully funded this department, this position, and they have not serviced the fire department at all. And I think if you remember in last year's budget, the fire department requested to cut their administrative line and use it to offset their addition of a new firefighter, and that the new firefighter, part of this individual's roles would be to pick up the administrative slack that this person would have done many years ago. So it was just kind of a clear up to kind of fit what's actually going on now. We've worked with the union, we reclassified it, made any changes on that end. So this is the final piece.
Let's have a motion and then we'll discuss.
I move to adopt the confidential assistant for the chief of police job description.
Second.
Moved and seconded. So, but it's the assistant for the police department.
What's that?
It's for the police department, right? Or, because it just says chief of police.
No, it's
Specific.
it's specific. It's confidential assistant for the chief of police.
Perfect. And,
It does. They do the whole department. Their roles do the whole department, like the payroll and things like that. But they're also like an executive assistant for the police chief.
perfect. And I'm assuming that chief looked at it and it's all good?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I have no other questions. Anyone else? You do?
I do.
Okay, go.
Okay, just minor. I think the template's great, and
Okay.
I think the job description's great. It's
Okay.
very well done. So these are just minor, again.
Okay.
Just in the definition, responsible for administrative and clerical, just for clarity. And the essential functions, the first sentence, I don't know, unless there's some reason for this, it says the essential functions or duties listed below are intended only as illustrations of, but you actually do want them to do these responsibilities, right? So I would just reword it as listed below are a summary of work that may be performed, and then the next sentence still makes sense.
All right.
Unless
I think
there's
it was
some
there to be
reason
more
to-
like, it's not everything you're gonna do.
Right.
So
But
summary.
the second sentence covers that,
Okay.
right? I think you don't want it to appear that this is just illustrative, and they might do it and they might not. They need to do this, but also they may
what
need to do other
follows.
things.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep, sounds good.
And then the last one is just a suggestion, because I saw you had some grant tracking, maintains grant and forfeiture accounts. What about adding assist with the identification and submission of grants for
Yeah, we can
funding?
have that.
So that we start putting that into various job
Yeah, that's what,
descriptions.
that was what the addition of that was. We're trying to,
Yeah, I thought that's where you were going.
trying to build in some,
So let's just go all the way.
Right, so, because you can't maintain it, if you could identify and then get them going and stuff like that.
I mean, I think it makes sense that it
Yeah.
goes together, yeah.
It does.
And that's
all
it.
right, sounds good.
Someone did some awesome reading this weekend. That's awesome.
Thanks.
So, we have a motion, it's seconded, and now we have a slightly amended job description. So I will still vote yes.
Peter votes yes.
Deirdre, yes?
Gary, yes.
So that's unanimous for that. Thank you. Checking to see if we have the
Supposed to have
lawyer,
it. Yeah, no, okay.
What to talk about?
the potential vote on the.
The PFAS.
Yeah, the lawyer for the PFAS litigation.
It's not N. Heracrit.
No, he just said checking in. All right. Well, I guess we can move when we see him pop in.
We've
Okay.
signed the audit.
Oh.
Creative catering.
Oh, yeah,
So
why don't we
this-
hop down to that?
This might give us, the town, a little bit of money.
What?
This thing?
The
The
PFAS?
PFAS
Yeah.
litigation, yes.
We're not
Yeah,
sure
and he'll
how
speak
much
to,
of it.
yeah, he'll speak in more detail on kind of what's going on, some
Okay, so we're gonna
background.
wait, we're gonna jump from, instead of doing G and H, we're gonna jump into I. The discussion and potential vote on a one-day liquor license for Creative Catering for the event at Penguin Hall on Thursday, March 21st, 2024, from 5:30 to 8 PM. And do we have someone here for that? Yes.
And just some while you're getting up, just some backstory. This is the license that the board denied with no prejudice, due to some non-payments.
Right.
Those payments have been cleared up, and they are up to date as of this moment in time. So the board said that they would, reevaluate the denial, in that case. And here's, I'm sorry, what's your name?
My name is Chris Riley, and I'm one of the owners of Creative Catering, who is going to cater the event for Penguin Hall, and actually North Shore Magazine. So we're just asking for the license. I was unaware of any non-payments or whatever of issues that were in the past, but we're a caterer right here in the next town in Beverly, have been for 30 years. I've been with the company 15, and I'm one of the owners now of 5 years, so.
Good for you.
So we do catering all around the area, and we are just looking to help these folks with some advertising or whatever with their facility with North Shore Magazine. So North Shore Magazine contracted me to do the food and beverage for it. Mm-hmm. So
Any other questions? Any questions, comments?
Thank you for
Okay.
coming.
thank you very much. Mhm.
Appreciate it. So you wanna have a motion, and then we can see if
Yep.
there's any other questions?
I move to approve the one-day liquor license for Creative Catering for an event
at Penguin Hall on Thursday, March 21st, 2024, from 5:30 to 8 p.m.
Second.
Any discussion on this? So, yeah, okay. Gary, what's your vote?
Yes.
Deirdre?
Deirdre, yes.
Pete?
Yes.
Diane's yes. You're good to go for this event.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in.
Feel free to stay.
You've been very patient, thanks for staying.
Riveting evening.
Um,
So so he's not here yet. He's traveling. He's checking into his hotel. He's rushing as fast as he
Okay,
can. But
so in
so
the
I don't know
meantime,
if we
so
want
let's-
to just start
let's-
going through
let's start-
articles and we see him pop
Let's
up.
start, yep. Someone will tell us when he's here, right?
Yep.
So let's jump into the warrant. And not really concern ourselves much with the script, per se.
Yeah. So we're gonna pull up. Can you pull up the warrant? So we'll
that's
figure we'll
easy.
go off the warrant because that's easier.
Yeah, it certainly is.
There's a lot less pages. And really, a good chunk go to the finance committee, and they've already identified their folks that will be making the motions. So tonight, we're really focusing in on Article 1, and then 14 through the end of the warrant. So if you want to scroll to page 18, is Article 1.
And really, we're discussing who's going to
Yeah, so.
basically read the motion, maybe give a short presentation, right?
Yeah, right. So the person who makes the motion generally is kind of like the first line of questioning, so you want to have some familiarity with the article and what it's looking to achieve. And then obviously you can defer to, whoever the quote-unquote expert is, whether it's Lauren or, Jeff Calder, Jeff Soulard, myself, Joe, whoever is heavily involved in the project. But I think to make the motion, you want to have just some familiarity with what it's accomplishing.
So we can just call them all out, or my first one in Article 1 is, Deirdre, do you feel comfortable doing that or uncomfortable because you're on the master plan?
Oh, I'm fine.
You're fine. Would you be interested in doing number 1?
Sure.
And I've seen Ann's presentation. It's going to be less than 10 minutes. It's really sharp.
Sharp and less than 10 minutes. It's good to know. How'd you get a preview?
Planning board,
Oh, plan it, that's right. So,
Thursday.
Get the
Sure.
inside track on everything.
yeah, no kidding. Love it. Okay, so we got Deirdre going on that one.
Okay,
So then we gotta scroll down to, is
He
he
says
on?
he's in Zoom now, is he? There you go, Hank.
Just so aware. This is
Yeah.
PFAS.
You fasten
There we go.
the lawyers, yeah.
Hey, can you guys hear me and see me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
we can. Thanks for coming, zooming in tonight.
Well, thanks for having me, and I apologize for being late. Although I live in Clinton, Massachusetts, I'm now in far upstate Michigan, and I just drove up from Detroit for a water conference here. So it took me a little longer than I planned on. So I thank you for your patience, and I apologize for not being in right at 7 o'clock. But again, I'm Hank Naughton. I work with the law firm of Napoli Skulnick, and we are partnered in PFAS litigation with our good friends at KP Law. So by way of introduction, and if you want to, whatever questions you have, or what would you like to hear from me this evening to tell you a little bit about what's going on at this stage with the litigation?
Yeah, Hank, if you could just give them, some background on, some things you're working on now and things you're doing for the other communities.
Sure. As I said, so my firm has been, I've been with the firm since about 2018. Just right after that, I left I'd been in the legislature for 26 years, and I came on as a partner. And the firm's been involved in environmental litigation of one sort or another for upwards of 30 years. This litigation in regard to PFAS, PFOA, AFFF, It started out as individual cases around the country in the early 2010s when certain water utilities were finding that they were impacted by these products, and that there was a lot of evidence showing, and as I'm sure you've seen, the very detrimental health effects, including several cancers and other hypercholesterolemia and numerous birth defects and numerous other health problems. In 2018, the case was consolidated into the Federal District Court of Charleston, South Carolina. My partner, Paul Napoli, has been on the executive committee for the plaintiffs since then. The case has proceeded through various levels of discovery, of hearings, of scheduling. Cases were set for trial last year. However, subsequent to the EPA promulgating extremely low maximum contaminant levels, 4 parts per trillion for testing of PFAS, which is going to become mandated, we are told, in the very short future, potentially even within the next week or two. And then it'll be mandated testing starting next year, and any community that is in excess of that maximum contaminant level will be mandated to do some remediation. Where Massachusetts communities are ahead of the curve is that DEP has made our communities test since 2018. So as part of 2 settlements that have been agreed upon late last year, one with the DuPont Corporation for $1.185 billion, and one with the 3M Corporation for between $10.5 billion and $12.5 billion. The DuPont settlement had its final approval by the court last month, so the clock is ticking for communities to get involved and make a claim into that settlement. And we expect any day now that the final approval for the 3M settlement will happen, which will get the clock ticking on that. So I know that this is a lot of information in a very short period of time here, and I can go on and on. So what we're trying to do with our friends at KP is educate Massachusetts communities, because Massachusetts communities are ahead of the curve with all of the testing data that they have, to make claims into these settlements. And the claims are, and I believe I did. I don't know if I had sent the slide deck previously, but I can certainly get it to you. The amount communities will get, in any community at this stage that has a detect, will be eligible for some type of remediation compensation. And it's driven by your flow rate multiplied by the highest average PFOA and PFAS detections. So we could actually probably predict with some pretty good accuracy the amount of award that Wenham may get. And so what I have just done is consolidate in about 3 or 4 minutes 6 years of work by my firm in this litigation. There are 16 other defendants that we are still negotiating with. One of those defendants, however, the Kidde Fenwal Company, which you probably have fire extinguishers hanging around the town hall that they made, they declared bankruptcy several months ago. One of my other partners, Hunter Skolnick, is on the bankruptcy review committee. So he is keeping an eye on them and what they do with their assets. We are negotiating with the other 15 defendants in this case for further settlements, and do anticipate some in the relatively near future. We project that the $13.5 billion that will be part of the settlement will last until about 2030. So if Wenham were to come in at this stage with some initial detects and get an initial award, there are options that if during the remediation process you find that you have some higher than expected remediation costs, there is a supplement fund that we could return to the court, to the the trustee and petition for more monies on behalf of your community. The other settlements that may come in the door might extend that amount of money past 2030, and that's what we're hoping. So I hope I've, Steve, I hope I've kind of covered with well, broad strokes, but also specifics enough to inform the board. Do we have any questions at this stage of the game, of the conversation?
Just a quick about, by signing this retainer, this is, you're allowing, what's the board's allowing your forum to act on their behalf with these settlements? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
We would, what I would do, if I haven't already sent it to you, is send what we call a WDC Water District questionnaire to get some basic information from you, and we would start gathering that information to make the claim for you. There is absolutely no cost to Wenham for this. I probably should have led with that. I don't know why I leave that to the end. This is a strict contingency fee agreement. I just get so excited about these settlements. And what the help they're going to give the communities. But this is a strict contingency fee agreement, and there is no cost, except, I'll say this: what the cost for you is maybe a few hours of your time and a few hours from the DPW of gathering the records that we need. But from discussions with our many other clients, that doesn't seem to be too voluminous, doesn't seem to take too much time away from. And we realize, we try to make it as easy as possible because we realize you've got day jobs to do. But yes, so it's that's what we would do. We would go forward with the initial claim on your behalf in the very short term, and then we would stay with your case through your remediation process and track it to see whether or not there are other funds available as we go forward that we could get for the town of Wenham.
Deirdre, you had something?
So, yeah, I'm also excited about these, and I think in terms of environmental protection, these cases are incredibly important, and what this accomplishes in holding these firms accountable for the contamination. So thank you for the work that your firm has done in this regard. In terms
That's
of
kind of just saying thank you.
the filing, so your firm would handle the filing and ensure that we've met the deadline and so forth?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's honestly one of the reasons I'm up in Michigan right now, is to kind of educate. I'm speaking to a large water conference up here tomorrow. For the coming up on 6 years that I've been working on this case, people have said, well, when's the deadline? When do I have to sign up by? And I always had to be a little wishy-washy with the answer. Well, I don't have to be anymore. The deadline's looking us in the face. The deadline to sign up for the DuPont will be, DuPont settlement will be on or around May 1st. And if, as we expect, the judge files his final findings in the 3M settlement within the next week or so, the deadline on that will probably be on or around June 1st. So we're working very hard. We've got, in addition to myself, and I like to say, especially in working with KP, that I feel very loyal to Massachusetts. My dad ran the water department in Clinton, Mass. For 40 years, so I kind of feel like I'm in the family business helping out with this. But so we've got local representation, but we scale up very quickly to national and even in a way international representation here in these cases because of the size and the strength of our firm. But I myself and 8 other partners around the country are working on this. I'm the managing partner for this program. We've got about 40 paralegals committed to it, and we have about 250 other staff that as we get closer, I had a long conversation with Paul Napoli on Sunday morning, and as we get closer to these deadlines, I'm saying, Paul, we're going to have to pull a lot of the other staff in to because you know how human nature is. We're going to be getting calls the day before
Right, exactly.
the deadline, want to get people's paperwork in, and we'll do our best to help everybody. But the clock is ticking now.
Okay, great. And just one clarification on the retainer agreement. It says that your firm is prepared to investigate the PFAS or emerging unregulated contamination. I mean, are you relying on our water testing data? You're not actually coming here to test yourself, correct?
No, no, we're relying on your data.
Okay.
At the start of the case, you know, we were prepared to do that, and we have to in other parts of the country, but again, that's where Massachusetts is ahead of the curve. It's probably been a pain for you, DPW for the last few years to comply with the DEP regulations, but it puts Massachusetts communities ahead of the curve, so that's fine. No, we're going to be relying on your data.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Gary?
I believe KP Law and your law firm had a joint webinar on technical aspects of this a year or so ago that some of us attended.
Yes, sir.
That might be something that we ought to look at to get technical background.
Yeah.
And also ought to get Ernest Ashley's, the Water Commission's view.
Well, I know that Ernest and Eric are,
Yes.
they're all over this.
Right.
And that I'm guessing that webinar might be on KP Law's website?
Perhaps.
So we
I can
should,
recirculate that
Yeah.
email.
yeah,
too.
we should probably, yeah,
We can dig it up, sure.
good call. Anything?
You ready?
I think so.
I move to approve the Napoli Skolnick PLLC retainer agreement
For representation in PFAS litigation.
Second.
Any further discussion? Nope, Diane is a yes.
Peter's a yes.
Deirdre, yes.
Gary, yes.
So that's a unanimous vote for
Thank
this.
you.
We're in early.
Thank you, Hank.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
great. Thank you.
Thank you,
That's-
thank you for your time.
When I was a state rep, that's a vote I would have taken any day of the week. Unanimous vote, I would have liked that.
Enjoy Northern Michigan.
Thank you.
Thank you, thanks for
All
coming.
right, thanks so much. And again, I'm sorry for being late coming into the meeting, but good luck and,
No worries.
thanks for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So back to
That's great.
warrant.
Okay. We did one.
Next, 14, page 34.
Something's up, hold on. Are we good now? Okay. No,
What happened?
Michelle, is your mic on? You were muted before,
No, it's on mute.
but it doesn't show muted up there.
Oh,
Testing, testing? Okay. What? I don't know what happened there. I just noticed it looked different. What article are we on now?
Article 14, page 34.
Look at, we went 13 articles without even stopping.
Who's doing two?
2 is FinCom.
FinCom.
Are we going to have assessor expertise available
Yeah,
on the
they'll
day?
be, right, the assessor will be back up on that.
Did you want to go each article, Gary, or just the ones that
No,
were on
no,
FinCom?
just-
Okay, all right. So Article 14 is the new bylaw. Anybody want to take it?
That should be Gary.
Gary, thank you.
So you have to read the whole thing?
Yes, so typically the moderator will ask the appointed position to read the motion. So it's not an argument or for or against, you're just making the motion
Right.
so that he can start the discussions.
Right, but we're
motions-
not reading the articles, we're just reading the motions.
Correct.
Yeah, you'll make the
will
motion.
say as written in the,
Yeah.
in the warrant book, I
Right.
would
Yeah,
assume.
which is that script that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Each one will has the article and then it
Okay.
has the motion. So you're just reading the motion. Sometimes it's just a simple sentence that says, to authorize the article as stated or something.
But, so you read the motion, but you can also give a little reason why this is here,
Yes,
This
could
was
do.
it.
Yep.
right?
Yep,
You
yeah.
can
Yeah, it
speak
should
a little
be-
bit on it.
Essentially, you're repeating the commentary, right?
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yep. Yep. But you could say that it was your idea. Right? Where are we next?
Article 15, next page. This is the appointed.
The appointed to elected to appointed. One is for the Board of Health. We heard from Dr. Ting, I don't know, a year or so ago,
Yeah.
about this all coming down and the
He is still supportive. I actually just heard from him on Friday.
I would imagine so, because they need so much more experience, and then also to potentially move to more creative
Yeah, and he said his only ad would be, so that this has already gone to print and everything, but his only ad would be to hopefully entice more people to serve on the board. He's like, right now he feels like, the election, the 3-year, obligation and running for the position is a barrier to entry that a lot of people don't want to bother. But, if you could call up a colleague or something and be like, the board will just appoint you. If you get involved, it might be a little easier to entice people to serve. I think that was his
So
thought.
that's his thought, yes. So my thought, and I agree with this because I think the benefits outweigh staying with elected, but the community needs to understand that once you take away an elected position, it's not elected anymore. The whole town hall used to be run by elected people, which means they were residents. Every time you take away an elected position, you run into having a town hall without any residents in it. Just a thought, but it is hard to get someone to run. It is hard to commit. You have a limited base. And then there's all these other benefits to going to appointed.
But this would still be a resident. It's still appointed. It's just that you don't have to run for election, file papers and so forth.
If it's appointed, doesn't have to be a resident.
But
I'm
don't all
pretty
our
sure
boards
that our
and
bylaws, I'm pretty sure that our appointed positions on our boards have to be Wenham residents.
But in
Okay.
fact, the whole point of this is to eventually move to a regional setup anyhow, so it's something that, the drift
but-
is gonna go to higher level and,
true,
No, just
eventually.
so you know, this is going to take 3 years
oh, yes, yeah.
to kind of
Right.
creep in, because you have to, as terms become due, that seat becomes appointed. And so,
But it's
So it's
more
a
than that, because
transition.
you still
Yeah.
it's still another year until the next, is this on the ballot? This isn't on the ballot.
no, we're going
So we have
through
to
the
go to-
regular mechanism in law. What is it? 41, Section 1B, has a process defined. We opted to go the special legislation with the clerk for timeliness and where the position was already vacant. But this one is a mechanism in the law that we could have gone, but if we had done this way with the clerk, it would have been 3 years before, due to the timing with the special, the fact that it was vacant, and the next seat would be setting a new 3-year term. But this way, with the rotating seats, it doesn't really matter, because it's gonna be a number of years as it phases in anyways.
But I was just saying, it's more than 3 years, because it won't take effect at least until the next election. So if this passes at town meeting, it has to go to election at 2025. And then whoever's elected has that 3-year, and then they all fall off each year and become appointed,
Got it.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same with the next one, which is the assessors. So I guess I was thinking appointed ends up not being a resident. You're telling me it would be a resident
I think the way it stands now, it would be, but I think the intent is
to move?
to move,
Eventually.
at least in this, other committees do have working assessing boards. I don't think that's the direction we're going, and they hire, they'll pay like a stipend, $5,000 or whatever, and they'll bring in assessors from other communities to serve on their board on a part-time basis. I don't think that's a model, we may, but I don't think it's a model we're entertaining at this point. But with the appointed Board of Health, I believe that, obviously it's a number of years down the road, but with all these recommendations that came out of this blueprint for public health, and based on our scoring and our lack of preparedness, or really we weren't unique in that, it's the lack of preparedness, particularly for small towns, kind of highlighted the need for, maybe a larger regional effort, so that we can, share costs and have one public health nurse that's full-time, and have, one person that's that's dedicated to these initiatives across a number of towns. And for representation for that would be, I don't know what the makeup would be, but, two, maybe Wenham would have 2 seats on a 5-member board, or 2 seats on a 7-member board, or maybe it's 5-member and there's 5 communities and each town has their own representative. Like, I don't know, that would remain to be seen and obviously come through the board, and it'd obviously be maybe a subsequent town meeting votes, but the way it's been explained to me is this is kind of like the first step, because it's not an overnight going from appointed to elected. You can't just decide, okay, well, let's go to appointed, and then, it'll be a number of years.
So who wants to do this one?
I have others coming up, so why don't you take it?
Do 15 and 16?
Sure.
And so basically say, hey, to see if the town will vote, blah, 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 and then just basically read the commentary.
Yeah, so KP is drafting exactly what you'll read.
The motion.
And then it's up to you whether you want to add commentary, but yeah, if you want to read the commentary or summarize it, that would be fine, before you read the motion. But you have
Do we think
exactly,
this is going to be controversial?
We could actually just ask Dr. Tink to speak to it.
yeah, I could.
Mm.
That's
We
not
should
a good
check.
idea.
Dr. Ting, carries great weight, I think, in
Right.
the town, so
Yeah, I
it
mean,
ought to be at
so
least
all we
available.
really need to do is do the motion, and then we could speak on it if we'd like, or bring someone else in, but we would have to ask them. We can't just wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Dr. Ting, come on up and talk. But yeah. So that would be.
We should ask him, don't you think we should ask him to do it?
I do. I
Well, you
do.
can't make the motion.
You
Yeah,
can't make-
motion.
yeah,
No, the
no.
president, after the motion.
After
just
the motion,
to
and ask him to
explain.
come up and talk.
Yeah, I
'Cause
think
mean,
that's a great
think
idea.
This is it's health. It's a big deal.
It is, and he's got that background.
Yeah, I personally see these, I don't see these being, contested. I'm curious to see which way they go, I guess, I think of all the articles, and you have a pretty good idea of which way they're gonna go, and these are the only 2 that I feel like I'd be interested to see if there's
Like-
any, it could be no debate at all, and it
Right.
goes right through, or it could, it could.
It might just be me that thought thinking appointed would not be a resident, so maybe we want to make, it's still a resident on both of those. Would just be, they wouldn't have to run for election. Yeah.
And then on 16, I mean, given the, the tax issues,
Should we have as in Dr. Ting, we'll have the chair of the Assessors Board of Assessors available?
Before we get to that, the taxes is one thing, but also the fact that there was no one that took out papers last year.
Mm.
Right, so we can't even get the board filled via election. So I think that's kind of the part. I don't know why it's really fun to go for election. I don't know why people don't all run.
I mean, I think they might see again, it's 3 years term, but I feel like with appointed, you kind of don't feel quite as obligated to stay the 3 years. So I know in past communities would hit up the local realtors and convince them, and they would, might spend 6 months or a year, then they'd kind of, lose interest and move on. You get someone else on there, but it's nice to have their valuation expertise, but also, they can just kind of see a property, and they understand real estate, and they know, what I mean, within a range of values. So I know that worked well, and something maybe we could try here.
But ideally, you want them to stay.
Well, I know,
Well, I
I'm
think
saying.
they
it's
have
a
to take that
but
test, too.
Sometimes it's difficult, it's the
Yeah.
fact of some boards, it's difficult to keep them staffed and to keep interest going for several years. It's like new and interesting, and then you come to a series of meetings, and, you see, I was assessor for a long time, and you just kind of lose interest, stop responding to emails, and they resign, and then,
So Peter's got 15 and 16?
yeah, I got
Back
it.
on track, okay. 17. Septic loan program. Deirdre's got it.
Yep,
Thank you.
And then the 18's got to be Ben.
Ben.
Oh, we
Wow.
were supposed to give Ben
We're gonna give them
everyone.
all.
Yeah,
I
we're
got
gonna
a-
send him, unless he's watching, so you're gonna write him a little
I
email
got
that.
an earful from,
Yeah, actually, that'll be funny. I'll write him an email, say 1 and like then 14 through 20, whatever.
I got an earful from Fallon about this.
Oh,
He thinks we're picking on him.
I mean, I think Ben sought to clarify the
19?
bylaw.
To make it, yeah.
And then it's up to town, yeah, I'll take 19.
There was an article about a month ago in the Globe about how the plastic bag thing
What happened to 20?
backfired in some town.
Oh.
And I can't, it was
Oh,
weird.
really?
State flag.
Yeah. It was bizarre.
Interesting.
I should probably take something. So if,
You got 20?
unless anybody wants, I'm happy to do the flag.
And
Sure.
the other, the pending question with this one is, do you want Martha Brennan to make any sort of presentation? Do we want to try to have handouts at town meeting? How do you want to?
Well, there's a lot more that has to happen, right?
Right, we're just giving our support
Yeah.
to
Yes.
another movement.
And it may be important to stress that it's, this doesn't make it a done deal if Wenham, it's giving the community support.
Yeah, this really isn't even in a vote, or it's just a,
To show us
Resolu-
support.
yeah, just
Show
show
of
of
support. Show
support
of
to
support.
our legislatures.
So,
I think a handout would be useful.
so when people speak, like when we asked Dr. Ting, we're saying, 5-minute. 5-minute
Right.
blurb, right? So I would give Martha Brennan or the Human Rights Committee the same. I would think it sounds better from them. As far as a handout, that's completely into the moderator. So, and that would probably have to be on a table out front or something, however, if he decides to do that, correct?
Yeah, I'll coordinate that with Roger.
Okay.
So I'll have Martha put something up, and we can work with Martha, put something together, and then we'll submit it to Roger for his review and approval.
And you'll ask her if she'll speak?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 minutes max.
Yeah. Because we want to,
Okay, we got two
want
more.
people to talk. 21, CPC. Oh, this is the term limits.
This sounds like one for the chair, too, with their
With her what?
expertise on town clerk.
How we just not going to give it to you?
That's a good point, because if you ask, like, oh, what happened to the last time? And you can talk about the whole process, how it's gonna go to the AG's office. And
Okay.
I think, yeah, it's just making it clear that this is a revote
It's-
because there was a mistake made and,
Right.
Yeah.
this was voted already.
This is what we believe was voted at the town meeting and just wasn't clear enough for the Attorney General to approve. Is that correct?
I mean, I wouldn't say but what we believe. I mean, it
Okay.
is what the intent was,
It is the intent.
was the intent of last year's town meeting.
yes.
Was that just last year?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, perfect. 22? Oh, nothing to say there.
A question for Steve? So just going back to some of the others, do we have the numbers and on 8 for the cemetery trust and the transfer of the sales? Does Bill Wilson have the exact numbers in hand if a question comes up? And the same, is Eric Mansfield or Ernest going to talk if someone asks about the software on the water
Yes. So
transfer? So they ought to have the exact numbers available.
transfer numbers in there.
And put them in as the point of reference in the script.
That's what I
The
think.
next person to speak, to answer questions, is that what
Yeah,
you
yeah.
yeah.
You're referring to
8 and 9 for Bill Wilson. 10 would be either Ernest or Eric. And I assume that the 11's Rich. Susan going to be there?
So does 8 have specific numbers? I thought that was just to authorize the acceptance.
It does, but, you ought to have some idea of, what the dollar amount is.
Okay.
I
And I
think Bill
think
probably
and
does know
Jeff
that,
has
so
the-
just he needs to be
Yeah, be
ready,
ready to
ready and waiting.
answer that remote possibility question.
And then for just, I'm gonna make sure we have everything together. Then on Article 9, you need more than what's in the commentary?
I don't think so, but I think we just need to have Bill aware that should be the guy that speaks up,
Okay,
right?
yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
He might be called on.
I just
Yeah.
want to make sure, yeah, I just
Yeah.
want to, if you're seeing anything that's missing as
Yeah.
far as information, I want to make sure that I can pull it and have it ready for Bill, so that there's
Right.
no stumbling around.
And then you were asking about the 10 to see if Eric or
Ernest,
Ernest was gonna be there.
Yeah, I mean, Eric is, yep,
He'll be ready.
he'll be there, he's ready.
And then 11, you said DPW. Is that DPW or is that water? Oh, no, not 11.
ro-
I'm sorry, 12.
12.
Oh, but Rich will be there for 11.
Levens Road.
Yeah, Rich will be there for 11, so
Right.
that's part of the finance committee makes the
Yep.
The motion.
for the consent agenda.
Hopefully it'll go as a consent agenda. Yep.
So that's through Article 11, and then 12 will stand on its own because it's not really
It's new.
a reoccurring article that water typically does. I don't think there'll be any issue, but we decided to, or the board decided to take that outside of the consent
So
agenda.
Eric will be there to explain that?
Yep, Eric will be there to explain that, and the finance committee will be making the motion.
What's 13?
13 is CPA, so it'll
Ah.
be Rick Woodland
Mhm.
will be making that motion.
Okay.
Got a bunch.
Is that, the CPA commentary going to be available by warrant hearing time?
I think they tried to put all the commentary, Rick wanted all the commentary in the article
Yeah.
itself.
But I just remember last year that because of events, it got down to, 5 minutes before the meeting.
Yeah, so right, so I think we'll eliminate that confusion, because last year it was Harriet up until, a month
Right.
before,
last
and then
minute.
Rick stepped in. And, so I've told Lauren to, if there's one motion that we can have, through her review sooner rather than later, it's the CPC, so we can get that to Rick, so he can digest it and have any questions.
Good plan. That's good. I think, I'm very impressed. Out of all the years that you've been on the board, does it seem like,
I think so. Jeff's going to be, got the big role up front, right? Big number 3.
Ready to go.
Okay, we'll have support from the audience and speak to some of the specific line items.
okay.
So are we on 22?
Well, 22 is the election. There's nothing to really do. Roger reads it, I believe,
Yeah, I
and
think
then
so.
asks for a motion to adjourn. I think that's it.
There you go.
Good.
I can't, yeah. Did we miss something?
Yeah.
Was there a poll hearing? Were we gonna schedule a poll hearing?
That's next
Next,
time.
okay,
Yeah.
next time.
So-
Oh, that's right. Well,
When are we
that's a
going to
good
wrap up the script?
The script,
That's Roger.
well, part of it's waiting on when we get back from but the script from everything we can do without KP review should be done by Thursday, with the exception of the board appointees section, because Kristen's working on the recount, which is tomorrow, so she's pushed back a little bit on that, but as soon as we get that, we'll integrate it. I mean, we're pretty close, we're just kind
Board
of really,
appointees?
right, what does Kristen provide that we're waiting on?
Oh,
Deaths?
the appointments that, the people that were on committees that have left the committees with term, lengthy terms of service.
Oh, to thank people?
Yeah,
Hmm.
and recognition.
Oh, the recognition people.
Yeah.
And deaths, I
And
think,
we have
right?
most of them,
Yeah,
but
deaths.
sometimes they don't all put in their resignation.
But don't we do, isn't that usually people that have served long term,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
A lot of the highlighted text is Rogers, like we left it in there and highlighted it as this is a change from last year. So he's gonna probably wanna type his, how he's gonna do this year will be kinda like back to normal, so we'll see. It's more just like we highlighted it to just so it doesn't get missed, that this is a change, because that's kind of his moderator's spiel, that section.
I don't have anything else, you guys?
So the next meeting is the warrant hearing, our next meeting?
Yes.
That's correct.
And it's
And what,
only
are we
the
having a
warrant.
hearing on?
No, it's not just the warrant here. We also have a couple things going on, don't we?
Yeah, I think we have National Grid that 6:15.
Yep.
Yeah,
So we
so
have
we
a-
have we have a hearing from 6:15 to 6:30. It's a poll hearing for National Grid to move a poll. It's probably gonna be like last time, nobody here, you just sit for 15 minutes and. we
On
close
what day?
On, Tuesday the 2nd.
Okay.
And we'll close it, and then from 6:30 to 7, we'll have, just general business, because things always come up that
Okay.
we can throw on the board to kind of put those items to bed. Those 30 minutes, and then we'll start the warrant hearing at 7, something like that.
Okay.
That'll work out all right.
Yeah, because you said something today that's gonna.
I
be-
know, I can't remember it.
No, Joe just did it during our meeting, but I don't remember what it was. But whatever. So we have a hearing,
Got it.
a short meeting, try to keep it short, right? And then the warrant hearing,
And then the warrant hearing.
which is really the
The FinCom.
FinCom are here, right?
Right.
And
Yeah,
we
it's
should move
their-
over there.
It's their show.
Yeah, so we'll have our little bit of time, and then 7, we'll do this
Yeah, that
changing of
big
the seats.
Square. That worked good last time, right, when we did the big,
You want to do it that way, or do you want
The big U.
select board to be, because it's not our meeting.
Jeff, yeah?
It would probably flip sides,
I would,
so
Have
FinCom's on the camera.
FinCom
yep,
That's
Yep.
the way it works. FinCom runs the.
Yep.
Warrant hearing.
third,
second.
second.
It's kind of just a rehearsal for town meeting, going through the,
Right.
Is that what, reading of the motions?
yeah, well, it's just, I don't know, like, Finn Sprague will do motion, I don't know which one, and then, he'll just say, maybe he'll read the commentary, or maybe he'll just explain to the public in the hearing what this article, intends to achieve. And then we go through, so it's just, it's for the public's benefit to get an idea of what's in this year's warrant, I guess who's gonna be making the motions, and, what they're gonna achieve.
And follow the script, or is it off script?
No, it's not the script.
Just
It's
the,
literally just going through, taking the warrant and being like, Article 1, and then, we'll look at who's making the motion, so it's Deirdre, and, she'll just quickly give a little snapshot as to what that article is and what it's gonna do.
and it could be questions from the audience
Yeah,
Right.
it could be
and
questions
it's a
from the
public,
audience.
it's a public meeting, so
after each article.
people have questions, they bring it up.
Right.
It's a good time for people to understand and to get more information.
Yeah, it's relatively informal, you're not following a script or anything like that, it's just going through it, providing quick summaries, so everyone, understands.
Right. Okay, so yeah, so we have April 2nd, then we have April 6th, and April 9th, and then the election.
Okay, got it.
All right? I think
Time for motion.
so.
I move that we adjourn at 7:49,
Yeah, yep.
what it is.
It says 48, but 49
48.
is good.
Second,
All in favor? Diane, yes?
Peter, yes?
Deirdre, yes?
Gary, yes.
It's a unanimous vote. We're out.
All right.
Thank you.